Hello everyone, welcome to TXM TV. This is our second installment of TXM TV. We're calling it 1.5. We had a first crack at it last night. We just did a bit of a review and we'll be posting that up for people to watch once we've gone through and given it a bit of a tidy up. Today with me I've got Robert Chittenden, sorry Robert, all right, and also Anthony Clyne. So the focus for today is we're going to talk about a few subjects, one each. Anthony's going to talk about keeping business going. We have a strategy. He'll give you the details as to what that's all about. I'd like to talk about working from home. New Zealand's on lockdown, so I think it's kind of important for us to give consideration to things that we could possibly do if we are at home. And Rob's going to be talking about making the most of this time. And so without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Anthony. Anthony, how you going?
I'm well, thanks, Peter, and thanks for the intro. And it's definitely a theme is keeping business going. And some businesses are thriving, others are going along and hoping that the orders stay there, and other businesses just have lost a lot of cash flow and a lot of customer base. So, what one thing is to keep the business going, and that means to protect the workers from each other contracting the virus, but also about visitors, and that requires a certain type of behaviour. So at TXM, we've created a policy, and what we want to we invite people to go to our website and download this policy. Because then we can totally just share our policy. You can look at it, and then you can pick and choose bits that you like, and copy it for your own policy. And it's quite a challenge. The onset of this virus has been so fast; it's just hard to keep up, and we can spend a lot of time. So the TXM policy for visiting client sites is a 4-page document. Oh, I wish it was smaller, but what we've got is we've got different themes, and then we've got a wide range of client sites that we go to. So we've got minimum standards, which we said this is what the minimum is. But some sites are more mature than that, and we say to them, this is what we think the best practice is, which is in addition to the minimum standard. So often you'll see regulatory rules, which is just a minimum, but they don't encourage people to go to best practice. So if I scroll down here, and I've got one highlighted, and we're saying physical distancing. So when we're in an office or a meeting room, we want to maintain the separation of 2 metres or 6 feet apart, and that means no more than one person every 4 square metres. But what does that mean for different rooms? So if we say that as the base standard, when we go to the other standard, or sorry, to the best practice, what we've got is a diagram of how that can look. So here we've got a TXM room standard, and this is a dynamic document that says, guys, if we're going to meet together, then these are the rules. This is how we want it. We want crosses on the floor to denote where people can sit, depending on what's happening at the time. And we also want to have a maximum number of people in the room. And we've chosen 4. And the reason for that is that 4 people can all sit around the corners, and you don't have a volley of conversational direction with all of the exhaling towards other people. And so that's why we do this. So if there's other people that need to be on site, in the meeting, who are actually on site, then we encourage them to dial in using the video from their desk or a remote office on the same site. And it also encourages people who are working from home to dial in and participate. And this is a template, and we can construct this for various different client meeting room environments, so we can customize and plan what the layout's going to be. So that links to our policy, and our policy's online. So please go to the TXM website, download the policy, and you're welcome to use it. So over to you, Pete.
Thanks very much, Anthony. Just on that note, this one for folks that haven't seen our first episode links really well in with the first episode, which gives a really good example of some visual measures that you can use, all right, in terms of hygiene. So, good connection?
Great.
Good.
Peter.
All right, Rob, hand over to you.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, very interesting, Anthony. And Peter, we've obviously got plenty to talk about here. So I want to get down to making the most of our time. And it's a very unique time in business, and particularly in manufacturing businesses. We're going to be able to see much more than we've seen before, particularly as we're changing modes, and we may have time to do things that we never really had time for before, whether you are at home or at work, is that there are some opportunities to tidy up. So get back to our 5S basics and start sorting things out. So maybe you do have the time to sort some stock out, sort some bin locations out, go a little bit deeper than you normally would have been able to do when you're normally trying to manufacturing your normal modes. It might be a good time to start labeling, getting that done, getting ready for your change, removing built up of wastes around a site where you've things have accumulated over a long period of time that you've never got to, or removing some old obsolete stock. So there's plenty of things to go and look at and use your labour or your own time whilst you're moving around. And if we could have a look at a simple picture here. Hopefully you can all see that, of just a welding bench, and there's some time there to go and have a look at that bench and maybe get that organised a little bit better.
Rob, can't see it.
Can't see it.
I'm trying to. There we go. So
thank you.
There we go. Just got to click the extra button. So here's a welding bench that is on its way to being 5S and progressing quite well. So we've got the boundary lines, we've got the bins, but there's time here to label and sort the tools out. So plenty of opportunity whilst you've got this time. And let's get back to Peter on that one. Let's talk about, this is an opportunity. So if you're needing help with your 5S or the steps to do 5S, please contact TXM and we'll be able to help you out. Look forward to hearing from you. Okay, over to you, Peter.
Excellent, thank you. I think we've still got your screen up. Oh, there we are. Wonderful. Just a bit of a note to anyone that is watching. We've just kind of like thrown ourselves into this for the very first time. All right, so it might be a bit clunky. We did say though, it would be really, wouldn't be a great thing if we're doing this in 8 to 10 weeks time. So we're hoping to improve, but at the same time, please bear with us. So I'm going to wind it up with just having a quick discussion about something which is, again, very specific to the New Zealand businesses, but something which hopefully not, but possibly the Australian businesses might run into, and that is total lockdown. I touched on it yesterday. It's something that New Zealand is in, and I think it's a bit of an opportunity to actually talk about it from our perspective, so that we might be able to hand over some good ideas to our Australian friends and family so that they are better prepared going into this. So what I want to talk about today is what do we do at home? It's completely understandable, all right? You've got families, everyone's going in this and suddenly, wow, your whole world changes. So family first and foremost. It's just one of those things which is so important. But for a lot of us, we've still got businesses that we need to give consideration to. And over the next few days, I'm going to be talking about the concept of a work dashboard at home. So what does this mean? If you are going to be working at home after the first week, having the family sorted out and making sure that they're safe, all right, that should be your main focus. However, there is going to come a time when you're going to need to give consideration to, well, I've got a business that I still need to ensure is going to be able to run once we're out of this. What are some of the things that I could be doing from home? And so as an example of this, we can break this dashboard down, or we will have an example of it that we can show in a day or two. And the first thing obviously is team health and well-being. And so for us here at TXM, we think it's really important to understand regularly, all right, how we keep in touch with our team. How we keep in touch with the people that report to us directly. what are the type of questions that we should be asking? You know, it's good to be able to catch up, but you don't want to turn around and make people feel uncomfortable about the reason behind you ringing. So how do we frame that conversation? Second thing is well-being. Now, physical health is one thing, and for businesses, that's going to give you an understanding as to a potential change when you do start up if someone is sick. But the same thing goes for well-being, and this is state of mind. How are your people feeling about the whole idea of going back into a workplace after going through such a traumatic experience of going into lockdown? So TXM's dashboard basically will have a whole different bunch of elements, a VSM that you can have at home if you've got a work office, just so you can go through and you can put ticks in the box to ensure that you are catching up with your teams, you're catching up with suppliers, you're asking your international suppliers, if possible, all right, whether or not everything is still going to be available on time in terms of the SKUs that you carry. So that's just an example of where I'm going to be talking over the coming days. Hopefully that will be something that will be beneficial for people at home. So I'm going to hand over to gentlemen. Have you got anything else you'd like to add?
No, not for today, but tomorrow I'll talk about whether we can do something around inventory. Maybe it's a time to stake talk, or do that final stock take, or get organised around stock taking. Again, making good use of the time.
Excellent. Anthony, anything from you?
Well, I'd like to have a special guest, and hopefully we can have people from industry tomorrow join us and ask questions. And they can email or join in at 10 minutes before launch time and contribute to what they want to say.
So that's excellent. So good point there from Anthony. This is going to work so much better if you get involved. So for people that are at home watching this, or if you're in the workplace and you've got some questions that you believe we may be able to help you with, all right, please feel free to get in touch with us via email or directly, or even text us. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This has been episode 1.5 of TXM TV, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.